It's time that we take a look at the Dynasty trade market to see what players that we can catch on a discount or we can sell on the high, and what the market is telling us to do with these players, how the market is valuing them. We're going to be looking at 3 running backs today. We're going to look at their trade values through real trades and on calculators to see what's going on with them. If that's something you're into, tap that subscribe button right now. Just give it a quick little tap, because I'll be covering the wide receivers here soon. I'll be covering more players, and we drop a video like this 2 to 3 times a week. We get to it when we can, and we are always covering the values. We're doing this all off season long. The first running back we're going to talk about today is Najee Harris, Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, RB14, 39 overall in ADP, 25 years old. Free agent after 2024 unless they pick up his 5th-year option. Last year, even though he's playing through injuries, he had 3 RB1 weeks, 5 RB2 games, 13 double-digit scoring weeks with a low of 6.6 PPR fantasy points and a high of 27.6. This is all per RotoViz. It's not like I made this shit up. Also, he played through injuries like I previously stated, so that started him off a little bit slow and up and down throughout the year. Jalen Warren's also there. Very good running back that they got on the cheap last year, who could also take away some touches. I think they're a good 1-2 combo. I think they're good to have together for an NFL roster. Going to the trade analyzer, going to the value here. In 1 QB, they got him around the 104. In 2 QB, around the 106 and 107 per the calculator, the trade analyzer on DLF. Going to the trade finder, though, looking at real trades that has happened. Russ Wilson in a 2024 first, this is 1 QB. 2024 second, a 2025 second, a 2026 first, and a 2026 second. A 108 and a 204, a 109 and a 208. Next trade is 306, 406, 506. 2024 third, fourth, fifth. 2025 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting deal there. Russ Wilson in 2 QB, Isaiah Pacheco in 2024 first, then it's a Desmond Ridder straight up in 2 QB, and then the last trade is a 2024 first. What this is telling me is a very liquid asset. His value can be up and down depending on who's in your league and who wants to trade for him and how the trade's going down. Also, it's telling me that you can probably deal for him for a cheap QB in 2 QB leagues. A 2024 first and change seems like the neutral point here on the trade market. You got some other ones here like a 108 and 204. You got a 2025 first and like 20 different draft picks that are like 3rd round or worse in one of these. 2024 first and Russell Wilson. So you got a lot here to work with. So that seems like the sticking point here. 2024 first and some change. If you're buying him and you get him for just 2024 first or something cheaper than that, consider that a good deal, it looks like. If you're having to pay a lot more than that, might be a little bit more overvalued. That's what we're seeing from the trade market. That's how we're trying to gauge it. 104, 1 QB per calculator. 2 QB, 106, 107. When I look at running backs, though, I look at 90% of them, or 99, 95, a lot of them, most of them, as being short-term assets for my team. With a guy like Najee Harris, we're looking at a short-term asset that we're trying to hope to get a little bit more out of. Last year created a little bit of cheaper price tag with him playing injured and not having the pop-off games that people were expecting. Looking back at it, numbers-wise, wasn't too shabby, but considering the price point, considering the buzz, considering what people were paying the draft capital in redraft and Dynasty, a lot of people have soured. A lot cheaper price tag here. So if you want to buy in, I mean, there's other running backs that are short-term running backs that you'll pay a lot more for. The cheaper, the better for the short term. Really depends on your roster. Typically, I like to build around the wide receivers and have a ton of wide receivers, and I like to get my running backs cheap. So the cheaper, the better. So if he's overpriced, and if I can't get him on a deal, it's no big deal to me. I'll just move on and try to get the running back that I can get for the deal. But really, I'm looking at the wide receivers. I'm pounding wide receivers, and whatever I have left, I'll try and get my running backs on the cheap. That may mean I might not be able to get him still. It might mean that because I might want to save my 2024 firsts for later because I'm not going to spend those willy-nilly either. So it's going to be hard for me to get him, but I can understand other people wanting to do so. It's going to be hard for me to get him in a lot of my leagues now that I'm thinking this through while on camera, that I want to build around wide receivers. With the capital I got left, I'm not going to spend it willy-nilly. I'm just going to wait a little bit. I might already have them. Startup drafts, I might catch them on the deal depending on what's left on the board. But if there's good wide receivers, I'm leaning there no matter what. That being said, there's going to be times where I might be able to get them. I might think through the trade and say that's okay. But with the capital I have left over, with my roster construction, with the wide receivers I'm trying to get, which I'm looking at most of my teams, I'm wide receiver heavy. It's going to be hard for me to make those trades, and with those 2024 firsts, I don't want to be spending them left and right now because I want to hold on to that capital for next year, especially in 2QB with Caleb Williams and company. I want to make sure I have that. It's going to be hard to pay up for that. Not a bad running back, not a guy I'm saying not to buy. I'm just thinking through in my head when I'm looking at the price here. If I'm looking to sell him, just kick the tires because the price tag is a little bit different from league to league. You'd be getting more than a 2024 first if you're going to do that. He's more of a hold, though. He's more of a hold, wait and see, hold for the short term. If I'm rebuilding, if I don't think I want to be there in 2 years to compete for my league when he's 27 years old. I think I read that he was 25 earlier in the video. Yeah, you may want to digest him. You may want to put him off on the market, see what happens. You may want to look forward to that because there's no point of holding the running back that's going to win you a couple games that inevitably, when you're ready to win, will be on the outs or be trending downward in their career. Let's pivot to our next running back who ran hot last year and is on a new team and could have a good transition as well and is dirt cheap. We're talking about Jamal Williams of the Saints. And ADP is being drafted as RB41. 128th player off the board. He's 28 years old. Obviously, we know the other shoe's going to drop sooner than later on that one. He was signed to a 3-year deal, but there's an out after the 2024 season, so technically it could be a 2-year deal with him. Last year with the Lions, he had 5 RB1 games, 3 RB2 games, and averaged 13.5 PPR points per game. Led the league with 17 rushing touchdowns. The Saints depth chart goes him, Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Eno Benjamin. So we do have some competition there. We are expecting Kendre Miller to do something this year, maybe in the back half of the year, maybe early next year. We're expecting Kendre Miller to do something sooner than later. Alvin Kamara, we're waiting on him if he gets suspended or not. We're waiting that out. Alvin Kamara is an older running back as well. Fragility could play in there. Jamal Williams could be the goal line guy here in a situation where he's getting touches at the goal line. That's something you want to look at. Trade analyzer, because everybody's got a price, and the price is what matters here. Trade analyzer, the calculator, mid-third in all formats. So it looks like if you're in the 3rd round, you don't like what's on the board, and it feels sketchy, and you good for short-term production, short-term guy that you can speculate on. Maybe you want to go with Jamal Williams. Looking at actual trades here on the Trade Finder, trades that really happened. Tank Dell, 2024 4th and a 7th. Trey Lance and 1 QB. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 2.1, 408 and a 2024 3rd, a 2024 4th, and a 2024 5th. Geno Smith in 1 QB. Very cheap guy to get. And really, if you're in a rookie draft, or if there's rookies on your team that you want to pivot off of, or if you got some cheap players, or you want to pivot and you just need a short-term back, you can speculate on that you think that could get some touches this year, that could get some goal line looks, that you're just trying to get some back-end running backs here that could get some opportunity. Maybe you want to look at him. Maybe. Who do you want to spend your cheap capital on? Who do you want to do that with? Maybe if I'm in a win-now team and I need a running back for now, and if 1 or 2 dominoes fall, you could see Jamal Williams giving you something. Are you shooting for the moon? Not anymore. Last year was the moon. The moon's over. Now we're coming down a little bit. Probably going to regress more towards the average of what he does. But again, that could be allowing you to have a few spot weeks. I'm thinking we're looking at spot weeks here. Nothing like last year, but some spot games. We'll have to see what happens here with the depth chart. Kendre Miller's got to be doing something eventually. I can't see him not doing anything, so he should be getting his opportunity sooner than later, if not later this year, mid this year, something like that. But when we're looking at on the cheap, maybe you draft Kendre Miller and you get this guy later, you got a 1-2 punch just in case something happens to Kamara. Maybe you wrap that up. Maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe you want to speculate on it. Maybe it doesn't even cost this much. I wouldn't pay the 210. I wouldn't pay Trey Lance in 1 QB unless that really goes down south and you really think he doesn't get an opportunity. Geno Smith 1 QB, that makes sense. 4th round picks make sense. Late 3rd round picks when you know things are going to be zapped off the board, that makes sense. Really depends on what's available. 5th round picks and 4th round picks, that makes sense. What we've seen. Tank Dell, a 4th, that's 2 4ths and a 7th. That makes sense. Again, you're buying a cheap running back and you're speculating that he gets touches this year. Maybe some spot production. Moving on to a cheaper running back, a young guy that could give you some value if attrition happens. And we're going to be talking about Isaiah Spiller of the Chargers. A lot of people wondering about him. Turns 22 right before the season, so still a young buck. Being valued as RB58, 189 overall. 3 games with 10 or more snaps. So he hasn't been on the field much, especially last year during his rookie season. So maybe we can go up from here. Maybe we get a couple games with 20 snaps. Maybe that could happen. Who knows? The Chargers did not draft the back this year. So we're rolling with Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Roundtree, and him. So there could be an opportunity if attrition strikes that he could get some touches. He could climb the depth chart a little bit more. He could earn a little bit more opportunity. Maybe he can flash a little bit. Who knows how much longer Eckler's going to be on his team. Shouldn't be too much longer the way the tea leaves are playing, but you never know how deals work. He was a trendy player in last year's draft class. A lot of people liked him, but he fell to the 4th round. He has a 28th percentile speed score, but he ranks 76th percentile in targets while at Texas A&M. So he's a bigger running back at 217 pounds who can get work in a passing game. 4th round pick, though. Team doesn't have much invested in him, so if they want another running back, they ain't going to think twice. Trade analyzer is saying he's a late 4th round pick in rookie drafts. That's the trade value for him. So if you want him, go ahead and get him. Trade Finder saying different in real trades. Rondale Moore straight up. 312 straight up. A 2024 second straight up. A 2024 fifth straight up. 212 straight up. Gerald Everett straight up. So you're seeing 2 different stories here. Him being traded for real cheap, and then him being traded for a considerable asset, a 2nd round rookie pick. I'm looking at those picks as not being normal, and I'm looking at him not being as liquid for that price tag, and I'm looking at people reacting due to them not drafting a running back, and those people previously liking Spiller and just trying to get back in, and also not liking the pool of players when they're at the 212. Or they're not caring too much for that 2024 second, and they're just getting their guy. He can be underpriced. He can be overpriced. That being said, perk your ears up, kick the tires in your league, whether you're selling or buying. See what comes back at you with what you want to do, because you could see some opportunity here, and you just did not realize it. He could be a good value coming back at you, or selling, and you did not realize it. So just kick the tires, see what happens if you're interested either way. Either way, because the prices are everywhere. I think more likely he's around that 312 range, somewhere around there, early 4th, somewhere around there, mid-3rd, somewhere in that mushiness when you get in the late round of your rookie drafts. Somewhere around there, it's probably more likely than those 2nd round picks. But we saw a few of them, so you're probably going to have to take a look. See what happens, see what comes your way. I don't see that happening, but it did happen more than once, and probably more than what we have here on the app. So you may want to take a look, but I think that speculation is going to calm down. Right after the draft was probably when that happened, but these are recent. These are within the last few days. So it could be still going on. Check your league. Check and see if you got any sheep who are willing to pay up. But those are 3 running backs who we're looking at the market on. What are you doing with them? You buying, selling, hold them? What's your market like with those running backs? That's the most important question. So people know down below in the comment section when they look at it, what trades were you able to make? I think I made a trade video on Najee Harris last year at this time. And I said, hey, here's the values. Here's what you can trade for. Here not. Someone posted below like, I'm never trading him. No one's trading him. That'd be stupid to trade high on him right now. We know what we're going to get. And then people down below right behind him are saying, yeah, I was catching this value, this value, this value, this value. So markets are different. Values are different. Opinions are different. And we're just trying to find those edges. It's not a player game all the time. It's also a people manipulation game, and you gotta know what people are thinking. And the more trades you look at, the more values you look at, from trade to trade, league to league, calculator to calculator, commenter to commenter, the more you're going to get accustomed to the values. When you get accustomed to the values, the quicker you can react with accuracy when making deals done, when news happens, or if a guy gets froggy in your league, and you can zap them real quick on the trade market for a deal that shouldn't happen, because that will happen from time to time. Not too often, but will happen. So that's why we look at these trades. They seem to average out when you get to a certain range of players, but not all the time. So you need to know what's going on. Some of these aren't probable in your league. Some of them are more probable in your league. You just got to take a look. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you with your Dynasty teams going forward. And I'll catch you on the next video.